Hi Sunflowers, I'm really excited to do this movie review, and I'm also feeling bad that it's come off a little late. Every second feels like I'm delaying it more. It was an amazing movie. Okay, let me just get into it. I'm going to be doing the movie review of Nuremberg today, and a few of my regular disclaimers before I go into a few changed disclaimers now. I won't be doing the entire plot by plot, scene by scene analysis. I'll just give a few opinions, maybe a few things I liked or I didn't like about a movie. And good news, Sunflowers. Now the background music is going to be done by me. So yes, I will be creating my own background music. And the images you see here are not directly taken from the internet like before. I have created them. I have used tools for sure, but I have created the images. So those are the two good news disclaimers I can say. There might be spoilers, like I mentioned in the title, and since there are a few scenes that deemed to be violent, Nuremberg is based on the aftermath of the defeat of Hitler. So yes, there is a bit of flashbacks to the violence that happened, and that is why I have mentioned it as 18 plus. And I think that's why even for the movie, it's important. If you are taking kids, make sure they're adults already. Since there will be spoilers, if you are like me and don't like spoilers, please go watch the movie and then come back and watch my review. Let's get on with the show. No more delays, Sunflowers, I have to mention it. Nuremberg is basically, like I said before, the aftermath of Hitler's downfall. So Hitler has died, and a few people who were considered his senior most, men or whatever have been imprisoned. And the idea is so fascinating at that time to think that the Americans do not want to just shoot and kill these men. They want to actually prove their guilt and then decide a punishment, decide what can be meted out to them. It's kind of like law enforcement post-war, which was unheard of at the time. And I'm sure that this is a fascinating thought even now, that a person in Germany can be tried in America or can be tried by Americans and the British and the French, and just because they need the support, the Americans actually take help from the Pope just to get and garner that support against these men who have done violent war crimes. It's a dilemma, I'm sure, that was more fascinating then because war crimes were not considered equivalent to normal crimes at that time, right? Because Yuddhaniti is different. We have many sayings on that, like all is fair in love and war. And to think that these people were tried for their guilt, their crimes were shown to the world to prove that they are bad and mete out a punishment according to their guilt, like we do now in democratic countries, fixing a certain punishment for a certain crime. That fixing was done in a process throughout. I really like the very beginning of this movie where, usually movies mention based on real events or based on true incidents, or if it's a fictional movie, it says like this is not based on any living soul or animal or incident or event. It's just figment of imagination. Instead of all that, what they wrote in the very beginning in the typed narrative was, no, this movie is said through the eyes of people who lived it and the people who didn't. It started off powerfully, and there's a lot of written narrative like this, like Adolf Hitler is dead, so many people are misplaced, and they show capturing, or rather, they show surrendering of Göring, who is known to be the right man of Hitler. Now, all these people who are said to be, the top A-listers, you can say, are taken from Germany, where they had been put under a kind of house arrest. They were in this beautiful palatial place, but they are taken to a place called Nuremberg, and the colonel who is in charge is explaining to them that your cells are made of stone, your beds are chained to the floor, you won't be given toilet seats, you won't be given anything that will help you commit suicide, in a matter of saying. So what these people want to do, the Americans, is not allow Germans to commit suicide, because if they commit suicide, they will be termed as martyrs in their homeland, and that doesn't help Americans in any way prove them guilty, because if they're branded as martyrs, then there might be unrest, they would have followers, you know the drill. But if they're termed as guilty and they're punished by law, then there might be at least a little change in the world, is probably what they're thinking of. Parallelly, there is a doctor who is assigned, Dr. Kelly, who is assigned to make sure that these people are mentally strong and mentally stable. For the same reason, they don't want the prisoners to commit suicide. And Dr. Kelly focuses mainly on Göring, because I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, because he is the boss, and I guess he's the main character for this movie, but I'm sure that he probably gave equal amount of time for all the prisoners. They have to show us everything in a short span of a movie, right? But yeah, he meets a journalist on the train while he's on the way. She plays a major role in this. He is assigned someone to be his translator, because a lot of prisoners don't know English, but we find out that is also might be a ruse. I don't want to spoil it too much, because I want you to feel the full impact of the movie while watching the movie. That's why I don't want to do this. But meanwhile, Kelly also tries to get in touch with Göring's wife and daughter and tries to befriend them as well, just to understand this man. And Kelly's thought process is so incredible. He wants to decode what evil is, because his idea is that these people are not mentally ill. These people are actually bad. They're actually really, really bad people, and he wants to show that to the world. But for this reason, I guess there are clashes that go on, and there's an incident that happens, and because of that incident, another doctor is assigned to work alongside Kelly, not as an assistant, but to just work alongside him. And that doctor and Kelly go head to head, or they collide, they have clashes, and there's this really funny scene where they're both fighting each other, literally fist fighting each other, and the colonel separates them and just shouts at them and say, "You are mental health specialists." Because if these people are fighting, what is the outcome? How can anyone ever trust them with the patients, right? With the prisoners. So that is going on, and meanwhile, the lawyers and judges are getting ready for the big trial that is going to be telecast and, showcased to the world. And the preparations for the court is amazing. There is explanation how in those times, with heavy lights, people will have to wear sunglasses in court, because it's going to be telecast and there will be press there, and there were huge flashes of light there, right? They had these humongous cameras which would let out a lot of light and smoke, and so that preparation is there. Then there's lawyers going through years and years of what they studied, years and years of the Constitution, and find out how they can prove these people guilty without showcasing them as martyrs. There's scenes of how projections are done of their atrocities, of their war crimes, of how these supposed work camps were actually, as we know now, gas chambers and the like. There is amazing acting done by everyone, whether it's characters of lawyers or the doctor or Göring or any of the other prisoners. It's amazingly done. You can see how hard it must have been in those times to prove these people are as guilty, because they themselves are so smart. And Goering especially acts like he doesn't know the atrocities going on. He doesn't know what's going behind his back. He tries to tell about the technicalities and the semantics of things that were signed, things that were said, agreements that were made, and the like. I felt like I would blink and miss a plot point or something. It was so fast-paced and entertaining, and I don't want to spoil anything more. Just please go watch this movie. I hope it's still in theaters by the time this video comes out, and even if not, like, see if you can rent it. Like I said, 18 plus only, please. There are a few atrocities, a few war crimes that are shown, so please heed to that. Do watch it. Amazing dialogues and the way they are said too, because at one point Goering says, "You are interrogating me, you are imprisoning me because you have won the war and we have lost, not because you are morally right." And it's such dialogues that make you stop and think. So that was one thing. And I didn't have to worry about the German that was spoken, because the Americans in the movie don't understand the German either. I mean, the characters. And they ask for translations all the time. So that was also seamlessly done with translators. One more quick thing I had to mention. I almost couldn't watch this movie because when we went to the theater, I went with one more person. There was only one seat that had been booked, and the lady at the counter said she didn't know if we would get it refunded or not. So we were early anyway, so we just went for a short walk and said we'll come back. And by the time we came back, there was another guy at the counter who said, since there were already 2 other people, they said that we could watch it. So it was just 5 of us in the theater, but all 5 of us were invested in the movie. I could tell that everyone was really interested. And I'm just saying that probably if the guy at the counter was there beforehand, he would have thought, okay, there are 3 people, we'll do the screening. But we almost thought we wouldn't get the screening, and I'm so glad we did get the screening, because it was an amazing movie. I just wanted to mention that even though there were just the 5 of us, everyone was really invested in it. No one wanted to blink, just like I said I didn't want to blink. It was so gripping, so enthralling, and so well done. The cinematography, the transitions, the segues, even though there were different threads of stories going on, even though there were different viewpoints being shown and different plots being shown simultaneously, I didn't feel like it was too confusing in my mind or anything like that. It was all very clear cut and wonderful acting. I also had just one more thing I had to say. After the movie, I did do a little bit of digging up on the actual book that it was based on. And I read about how some things were dramatized. But overall, I think it was an amazing movie, and I feel really sad how some atrocities did happen in our history. Yes, we don't have direct connection with, but it still feels sad as a human being. And if you like this video, please do mention it and click the like button. Comment below anything you felt if you watched the movie, or if you like the review, or if you have other movies to suggest for me. And your subscription is an encouragement. Ring the bell icon to be notified of new videos. I hope you're all doing well, sunflowers. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.